Morning, fish keepers. Cam here from thefishroom.co.nz. We've done it again. We've made it through to another Friday, so congratulations to everybody. Let's celebrate with coffee. Oh, it's hot still. Oh, it's really hot still. Wow. Anyhow, I'm going to have a heck of a lot today. Just a little bit. Obviously, things we have moved shop. That finished last weekend. So we were at 10B Kouta Place. We've now gone to 8B Kouta Place. Very literally right next door. We were in the big mustard colour building. We're now in essentially the big black building. So we're right beside Hex Small Good German butchery. The building right beside him, well, it's the same building, but right to the side of them. So we should be easy enough to find. Good morning, Gary. How you doing, buddy? Hopefully by the end of today, possibly early next week, all the signage will be up. Or some of the signage will be up out the front of us. We're putting a sign on, like a permanent sign at the front, as well as our opening hours and stuff like that. So to make it a little bit easier for everyone to find us. And so that'll be hopefully done, like I said, today, maybe early next week. Once that's all up and done and when we're up and running, we'll put some more signage up on the windows and the doors and stuff like that. But for the time being, we're just going to get through that little board that's going on. A vegan next to a butcher, so very tempting. And the worst thing about it is they smoke their own small goods as well, so I can smell smoky goodness while I'm working as well. So it does make it a little bit more awkward. So we've moved. That happened last weekend. We're all settled in here. We still don't have any fish available in the shop. That's not completely true. We do have some fish available in the shop, but the fish room, or the dedicated fish room for sales, isn't completed yet. So we've hooked up 18 aquariums into the one rack, but there's still a leak. Every day this week we've tried to fix it, and we got close. It will stop leaking for about half an hour, 45 minutes. Then I came back and it was dripping again. So we're getting very close. I can't do much until that leak is totally dealt with. Fingers crossed. I'll try and seal it up again today, and we'll be away laughing tomorrow. But at this point, this I'm there. So we've got all the substrate ready to go. Electrician will be coming in hopefully Monday to put all the lighting up. So the lights obviously go above the tanks. There's obviously quite a large thing. It's quite hard to sell fish out of the tanks that aren't lit. So yeah, come Monday, Tuesday, hopefully something like that, all the lights will be above the tanks. The substrate will be in, and we'll be able to have that leak finished. And all the fish that we've got being held out the back, we'll be able to bring forward. So we do have fish. There's probably some fish that aren't available online that we do have in stock. Once I move things over, I'll do a proper count of everything. So come next week, all of the fish that are available will be true to count that we've got. True. You're right. There's a very boring wall behind me. I actually don't think I've got enough space there for an aquarium behind me, unfortunately. But I have room for posters and whatnot behind me. I just haven't got around to it yet. So all the lighting should be up and rolling in the fish room. I'm going to put some plugs up as well. So out the back, we'll have the rack there. So hopefully by the end of next week, the fish room will be running with fish in it. And out the back will be ready for fish. We'll be able to get some in next week and get that rolling in, because we are pretty light on live fish, purely because of us obviously moving and stuff like that. What else have I got? There is some clear, obvious delays in the couriers coming into me as well as leaving me, and that is due to all of the flooding that has been happening in the Nelson region recently. So this week I've held back pretty much all of the live snails and fish that were going to leave us. Because I'm a little bit concerned about the delays on how long it was going to take to actually get from here to there. I'll be touching base with the couriers again today, and again on Monday. Fingers crossed, come Monday we're away laughing again. and that'll be fine. But for this week, I just held back anything that was alive other than the plants, just purely because of the delay, and I was a little bit concerned about the well-being of the snails and the fish and stuff like that. So if some people are wondering where their snails are and their fish are, it's just been delayed. I think I've managed to email everybody. I may have missed somebody or two, but I believe that I've emailed everyone saying we're just holding off on everything because of the delays of what was going on. So unfortunately, that means the same on the way in to us. We experienced at least one extra day delay on all of our plants this week, pretty much from all the supplies. And the order of substrate that I got took about an extra 4 or 5 days. So there are some fairly serious delays coming into Nelson and going out. So hopefully by not next week, the week after, when I go to order some fish, won't be too bad and we'll be away laughing, fingers crossed. A lot of stuff has sold out from the sale we had, so please be with us. I will be restocking that over the next couple of weeks. Once we're sort of settled in, once we've got all the shelves in place, which we're pretty close to doing, and having been aware of what where we're going to be putting stuff. So basically over early next week, I'll be beginning to formulate my orders and stuff like that. So some very common products like the Flourish range are all out of stock. The curry algae wafers are out of stock and things like that as well. So some of the more popular ones are out of stock, but I'll be ordering them early next week, and to get everything else back and running for everybody. So just bear with us when it comes to that. We won't be too far away. Does all that extra space mean you'll sell ornaments now? No, it does not. You can continue to sell ornaments, but they're probably unlikely to be sold here. There actually isn't all that much extra space. The retail shop itself is smaller than the last one. The layout's slightly different, which has allowed us to put things in different places, and because we've taken the aquariums out, it's given us a bit of extra free room. But I already have plans for those rooms, which may or may not include a display aquarium, depending on what the boss says once I purchase it. So I'm clearly going to ask for permission after I bought it, and beg for forgiveness as opposed to asking first. So we'll see how we go with that. What else we've got going on? There's a new product line coming. It's not a new product line to New Zealand. It's been in the country for a very long time, but we're going to give it a go. It is a high-end product line, plant fertilizers and stuff like that. So we're going to give that a wee nudge. What sort of display? Actually, believe it or not, I'm thinking about an African cichlid tank, and that is purely because of the conversations that I've had with you and watching your absolutely gorgeous African cichlids in your display tank. So that is potentially going to be what happens, or maybe a big American cichlid display tank, Jaguars, Oscars, that kind of stuff, because I also think they're kind of cool too. So they are the two that are in the shortlist. I don't think I'll end up doing a planted tank, but I may, but probably not. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be African cichlids or bigger American cichlids at this stage, for at least for a bigger display tank. If I can find some room for a couple of smaller display tanks, 2 or 3 foot, then I might play around with a couple of plant tanks. But for a slightly bigger one, it's probably going to go towards African cichlids or the American cichlids, just because I like them and I haven't been around able to keep them and play with them for a while. Yeah, planted tank, that's an option. That's definitely an option. I like the sound of that. I've still got the butterfly fish and the Congo tetras that I had in the Blackwater tank. They've just moved home for a little bit. So I may end up setting that up as well. Although I did think that a 3-foot tank was not going to be big enough for all of them. So they may need an upgrade on that. But you need to prioritize, obviously, getting the shop finished, getting the shop sales tanks for the fish all up and ready to rock and roll, and then getting the back room sorted to get some more fish in before I worry about display tanks. So it's they're deep down on the list for the time being, unfortunately, but they're definitely on the list, which is nice. I don't really have too much more. It was just a basic update of what's going on. Obviously, we've moved. It was quite a significant last 2 or 3 weeks. It's been quite time consuming and quite stressful for me. This weekend, basically from 5 o'clock onwards, I'm planning on turning my cell phone off and my computer off and just spend some time with my children and my family for the next couple of days, just to sort of try and revive myself and charge the batteries back up. They've definitely missed having some time with me over the last couple of weeks, so I think it'll be quite important for me to spend some time with them. So how many tanks? So there'll be 18 2-foot tanks to sell fish from in the fish room. There'll be 4 3-foot tanks that'll have plants, potted plants, bunched plants, and then potentially some African cichlids or American cichlids or something similar in there. So that'll be the sales tanks. Out the back, currently, there is 12 2-foot tanks running, and the rack that we bought in from the last shop holds another 24 tanks, so that's 36 2-foot tanks. And that doesn't even take up probably 5 to 10% of the back room. It's literally a very small corner or very small edge of the room. So I think I worked out we could do 100 tanks on one row that were 3 foot long and 4 high, I think was what my maths was per row, and there was able to be 4 or 5 rows or something like that. So potential for 400 to 500 tanks out the back if we choose to do that or continue to decide to go with that. So a lot of available space for a lot of aquariums. So next week's guest, we are speaking to a live bearer expert. They deal predominantly with guppies, a little bit of swordtails. He's from Holland. He absolutely knows his stuff. He's been playing around with aquariums and particularly playing around with live bearers for a very, very long time. He line breeds a lot of stuff. He's very, very knowledgeable when it comes to live bearers. So if live bearers are your thing, which I know some people in the chat, they are your thing. I'm looking at you, Aaron. Well and truly be worth watching next week, because he'll be really interesting. I can assure you, if you're into your live bearers, you'll get a lot out of this one. So he'll be with us next week. I'm very much looking forward to that. Yes, it is a lot of water. Got to work out a decent water filtration, incoming water filtration, and then properly plan a automated water change, because it's a lot of tanks to be spending a lot of time on. So there's a lot of work ahead. Still at the planning stage. There's 2 or 3 ideas that are being thrown around. They all pretty much have the same theme to it. It's just about putting everything in the right place to make sure we're getting the most out of the space and doing the best that we can. There's no point of having dead spots or things like that. There's a drain in the ground already, so obviously we want to try and get as much water as we can going towards that for the water changes. So we've got to work around that. But unfortunately, right beside it is a fire exit door, but it's on the wrong side of the fire exit. It's on the outside close to the wall as opposed to the inside close to the bigger space. So, thinking about potentially putting in a false wall or a false room or a small ceiling or something like that to keep the warmth in, but the drain's on the wrong side of that to be able to build it into a room. So it's just a little bit of logistics to make sure we get it all the right direction and all the right place. But yeah, the common themes are still 2 or 3 things. It's just making sure we get it right. And making sure we're not, running from one place to another place 7 or 8 times a day when we could have had it all together and save time and ability and stuff like that. So it's just a bit of full planning, and we're laughing. But again, for now, the priority is making sure the shop's finished, making sure the fish room, the sell fish are finished, and the temporary tanks are set up for all the fish. And once we're done from there, we'll be away laughing. Did we get the frog tank sorted? Yeah, we got that out the back as well. It's just in a temporary place. Just sitting comfortably for the time being. I will bring it back in here, potentially put it into the fish room itself. I've got a stand here that I can probably knock up today or sometime on Monday, and put the frogs on there and put them in there. So, but they're okay. They've moved over there. They're quite comfortable, croaking away in the morning, which is nice. So, they won't be changing tanks or anything like that. They'll stay there. So yeah, they're pretty content the way they are. All right, well, I'm going to go now because, as I'm sure you're aware, there's plenty of work for me to do. I've got a couple other things to do. I've got to leave the shop and get a couple of things before the shop opens at 11 o'clock. So we're open 11 to 4:30, Monday to Friday. We're closing the weekends and we're closing public holidays. So we're now at 8 Kouta Place. So with that, I will go. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have a good one, team. Happy fish keep and catch you later.